Have you ever witnessed where a horse is killed in an occasion? You will discover a horse shed tears just like human being. A horse cries out tears just the way human being cry. In many parts of Igbo land, before you kill a horse, you have to first find a cloth to cover its face, because the tears gurgling out from the eyes of the horse send sympathy to the heart of men. In Ogbaka, where I come from, sometimes before you kill a horse, a woman have to come out from that compound to console the horse to stop crying. Eventually, at the end, men must still kill the horse. Because one thing we have failed to understand is the fight for survival of a particular species in a particular culture is a direct threat of life to other organisms outside that culture. I repeat, the fight to survive of a particular organism, when an organism lives its natural lifestyle to survive in a particular culture, its lifestyle is weaponized and the threat of life against other organisms outside that culture. And this is how nature calibrated life to exist. For instance, when a mosquito bites you, you get really offended. But you don't fail to understand that it is only the female mosquito that bites human being, because male mosquito don't suck human blood. The female mosquito is biting you because it needs to take protein from your blood to grow egg, which will fertilize for the purpose of reproduction and sustaining of his own survival of his generation, for his lineage. So when a mosquito fight to survive, when a mosquito fight to give birth, its fight for survival is the death of human being, the inflicting of your blood with malaria and attack to your own death of life. And when a man fights to survive, he fights to survive by killing mosquito. So the fight of human being to survive is a direct threat of life for a mosquito death. And the fight of survival of the mosquito is a direct threat of life to a human being. Let's take it into the jungle. When a lion lives its normal life, the antelope is dying, the bears are dying, the buffaloes are dying. Just because the lion wants to survive, it's a fight for himself to survive, to continue to exist. When the buffaloes and the antelope and other animals in the bush live their normal life, the lions will be dying. This is how life is calibrated to work. The fight for survival of a particular species is a direct threat of life to other species outside that culture. And you don't shy away from it, because that is how nature has made it. You as a human being, that you have a good meal today, you have discovered, you have gone to a restaurant, you have eaten a cow, you have eaten a goat, you have eaten a grass cutter. That is the blood of organism that was wasted for your own survival, for protein to exist in your body, for your survival as a human being. So the fight to survive of an organism in a particular species is a direct threat of life, a weapon to other organisms outside that culture. The highest problem an African man have is that we have not understand that our life calibration, the life, our culture, our way of life is a direct threat and weapon to the way the West live. The fight of survival of the Western world is a direct threat of life and attack to the life of the black. And the life and the ways of the black is a direct threat of life and death to the life of the West. They are like day and night. They have direct opposite way of life. This is the big problem an African man have not failed to understand. But the West, they understand it perfectly. When you come in the West, you discover the first culture is that women is empowered. Actually, it is a woman who marries a man. That is why a man goes on his knee to beg a woman to accept him as a husband. They form that monogamous setting. Number one, they are not obsessed about having children, just as predators are not always obsessed about having kids, because they know their power is in their strength, not in their numbers. Number two, their center of attraction is to have sex, because it is in sex that pleasure and business will be multiplying, and it is sex and love and romance that will give woman empowerment, power to destroy him over a man. Because once a man goes to play love, he has destroyed his sense of leadership over a woman. You can't lead a woman you are claiming love with. So it was actually built, number one, to fund business. Number two, because we don't need much population. And number three, because women want to be empowered, because we are practicing a feminine culture. But when you come to Africa, the African man built a family as a factory for producing children. Because we discover we are less powerful in strength. So we need to grow in numbers. You begin to hear about Igwebike, which means our strength is in our numbers, not in our muscles. So we have to be united just like the soldier ants to be able to actualize our own desired direction. Beyond production of children, we want to free the man, because polygamy gives a man freedom from a woman's protection. Because a woman is not born to protect a man, it is the man that will protect the woman. So a man is an iroko, a fixed tree that the women comes to perch on, to make nest and raise children that will come under the umbrella and protection of that man. And for the purpose of what? Survival of our own species. The problem an African man failed to understand is that the settings of my own family as an African man is a direct weapon and threat of life to the West. And the settings of the Western man family system is a direct threat of life to African man own way of life. That is why if you are traveling today to England or America, one of the documents you will sign is that you will not practice polygamy in their nation. Because they understand that if you bring this type of family in our culture, it will be a direct threat of life to us. Today, an African man think he can copy the ways of his predecessors, which is monogamy, to begin to practice one man and one wife. And today you discover it is fight between a man and a wife. Most of the fight that the colonialists would have fought outside, he has commanded the woman to push the fight into the men's house. So the men have already enough fights to fight with their wife. And when a man have enough fight to fight with his wife, he can no longer fight to defend his community, because naturally he wasn't meant to fight with his wife. He was meant to unite with his wife to form a family that will fight against external attack. But the West want to train everybody in their country to get prepared for that fight against future, because their own way is to leave their land, come to your land as a predator, carry you as slave, colonize you and exploit you. That is the way that they are designed to survive. Their own way of survival is a direct threat of life to the ways of an African man. Their way of survival is democracy. They brought out this democracy because they want a government of divide the people, fight. Their own ways is fight. And they need a government of land thief, because they move from nation to thief land. And democracy is a it's a rulership of land thief by the power of the barrel. That is democracy. So they need a democratic government to be able to move to people's land and take their land, because you don't steal the people's land in their culture. But the African man culture is communism, where the justice system is given on the elders people. The elders administer the people as justice, but in their culture, a woman is king. A woman rule. It is the culture of the woman. That's why when you come in the justice system, you see it is a woman as a symbol. And this woman, her eyes is closed. Imagine a woman who is an illogical being and an impulse being a symbol of justice. That's to tell you the type of justice they want. There are people that forms a governance system that helps them to transport from countries to countries, to kill people of that land and take away their possession, take the people in slavery, colonize the people. And they need democracy to actualize this. The African man left his communism culture, government or leadership of the elders, and now adopted this democracy. And we begin to fight and kill ourselves, because we fail to understand that the way the predators live is direct opposite of the way the African man live. The same way, if you come in their country, they have an education system that creates secrecy of knowledge, because they have the already talented people who created the utilities, created the facilities, created phone and the use of the phones and everything, the microchip, the Apple, the Amazon. But they don't want competition with these individuals. They want these individuals to produce this commodity while the mass of followers use it. So they availed an education system that will keep the mass of followers busy and create secrecy of knowledge for them. Because in the West, the forbidden fruit is the fruit of knowledge. But in Africa, the forbidden fruit is the fruit of immorality. So the African man went and adopted that same education system that now teaches the people memory that have no physical application. So we begin to groom criminals in the society who could not solve problem. The ways the predators live is direct. The problem that an African man have not understand that his lifestyle is direct opposite of the West. The West understood it. They are not seeing you as a human being. That was why the first time they come to Africa, they look at Africans and they say, God saw man in his own image, made man in his own image. They were simply trying to tell you that we saw people that resembles us. God made man in his own image means the white man government of the day came and saw people that look like us. and they call those people the black monkeys, and they begin to carry them in slave, kill them. You see, when a black man complain about the number of people that was butchered, you show pictures about slavery, I laugh. You have not understood life. This is their normal way of life. You are not the same thing with them. The same way the monkeys in the bush is complaining that human being is killing them, is the same way an African man is complaining that the white man is killing them. You fail to understand that they killed you to survive. They colonize you to survive. England will not have had one go today if they did not colonize you. The fight for their survival is a direct threat of life to your own survival. So the most foolish thing an African man will make is to think he can copy the life of the predator, the life of the Western people. He can copy their religion, which was actually built, everything about them was built to destroy the opposite people. But it was built in that way because they want to fund foolishness for the sole purpose of business. That's why they're told that their God choose the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. Their God took side with the foolish people, the musicians, the footballers, the comedians, to destroy the wise, to shame the wise people. And an African man that his culture is built on will choose the wise things of this world to shame the fools. You now went and think you can adopt their culture. Today you discover your house is a ring of fight between a man and a woman because you have went to introduce love between you and your wife. A place where your ancestors built factory for the purpose of growing children, where the women came to perch on the axis of a man in all their own axes to reproduce children that will come under your umbrella of mentorship. That's why I don't blame these boys that do Yahoo. You have not understand the meaning, the life calibration. For Africans to survive, if Africans live their normal life, the West will be dying. It's natural. For the West to live their normal life, the black will be dying. The problem with the people doing Yahoo is that they don't have the soundness of ideology. They do it because they are obsessed to get money, not even the application of that money. So when they pick money, they go and buy car, they go and buy iPhone, they smoke. You discover this attitude have actually ravaged the people because the people are not doing what they are doing with the soundness of the ideology of culture. When you do it with cultural understanding, you understand it's not actually bad. I'm not promoting Yahoo, please. But what I'm saying is that the fight for a particular species to survive is a direct threat of life to the other species. For the West, when the white man is living their normal life, the African is dying. It's simple as that. Democracy is the government for them that they practice and they never have issue with it. But when it comes to Africa, it is fight. Because this is not our way of life. You brought in the family system that is not nothing pains me like the family. Nothing pains me like the family. An average African man this night is suffering under serious marriage abuse. Because he has went to copy the white man marriage system and he has gone to church and the pastor has corrupted and cursed his marriage. Any wedding that happens in the church is a cursed wedding for an African man. Because the pastor have told you as a man that you will leave your father and your mother to cleave to a woman. Whereas in our culture, it is a woman that leaves his father and his mother to come and cleave to your family, not just you. So your mother can contribute in training and shaping her into the mode of the family, where she can come under rulership and make space for other women to come for the sole purpose of growing children, and we put interest and farming to provide their food. No issues. The only problem and the issue you are having with your wife today is that you have went to put love in your relationship with your wife, because the white man have taught you about love and the emotion. They need that emotion in their country because the country is a feminine culture where impulse is empowered, because they know that when impulse is empowered over logic, it will be madness. But our culture is masculine culture. And the masculine culture is built on truth because it is the culture of the men. And men take responsibility. That's why when you see a man who speaks the truth, the man will be surrounded by men, not women. Look at my WhatsApp and my TikTok and my Facebook platform. You discover there are 98% men. Just 2% women that have the heart of men that are following us. Women run away from a man that speaks the truth. So you now see why your culture is direct opposite of the way. The problem we are having is that an African man is still saying, we are human being, why we are the same people. The white man is not seeing you as the same human being. There was a video I posted on my WhatsApp, I think that was last week, where Donald Trump was speaking. He says, we cannot apologize to Africans and the Iraq and the Iranians for exploiting them and exploiting their resources. The video is still in my WhatsApp group. He says, for we are calibrated in this way to live for the purpose of our own survival. It's still in my WhatsApp group. Because if you don't understand this fight for survival, you will make mistake of thinking you can go and copy. The problem today that a white woman think you can copy the West. You can copy the West. Happy divorce.